Well, hello, Sparks leaders. I just want to take a couple of minutes and make sure that you are equipped and have questions answered before you step into serve on week one, and walk through the content that you'll receive for your small groups. Make sure that as much as possible in a video that I can answer questions that you may have and what that evening will look like. So I'm going to start with just a quick recap of something I said during our leader training. And again, that's to serve and hold intention, serving with excellence, and being okay with failure. And to continue to do that, to look for ways to maximize God's glory as we serve with kids. And if something's not working, being okay with retooling it, putting it back to the drawing board, ironing out the wrinkles, and looking for ways to best serve the kids of our church, the kids of our community, again, for the glory of God, as they hide verses in their hearts. Again, we don't know what the fruit of that will look like a decade from now, but you are instrumental in that process. And so I just, again, want to make sure that you hear that from me. Thank you for serving. And then secondly, just again, so that you are fully equipped, as Paul writes in Ephesians 4, that you are fully equipped for the work of ministry before you. And so a couple logistical things, and then I'll look at the book for you and walk through that. So from 6:15 to 6:30 every night, the kids will begin in the sanctuary. We'll have some music videos from past years' VBSs going. There will be on the ends of the pews some just poster little signs indicating where to have TNT Kids sit. It'll be basically rows 4 through 7. I would encourage you to be there. We don't want kids in there with no leaders. So one, it gives you an opportunity to connect with them before the start of the evening, as well as laugh with them, keep them under control until things get going. And then the small group time, which you will be leading, will take place in rooms 119, 120, 121, and 122. And we'll let you know exactly what room you'll be in as things progress. But I do want to take an opportunity to walk through this book. Again, I kind of indicated during our leader training that we'd be using this for small groups. And I had said initially that the large group format and the large group teaching would not interface with this. Since then, I've talked to Matt, and we've looked at the lessons in here, and he's going to take his 4-part paradigm and insert it into the lessons here, so that what it does is creates a little bit more stability and continuity between what they're hearing in large group and what you'll be discussing in small group, so it doesn't seem like multiple things are happening. There's one overarching emphasis for that night. And so we will give you a packet of lessons 1 month at a time. And I think initially during our training, I'd said we'll give it to you a week in advance. And the more I've thought about that, and the more my wife has spoken into my life, the more we want to make sure that you're equipped weeks in advance, not just a couple of days in advance. And so with that, you will get on the first night the packet of information. We'll hope to have that to you the Sunday before you are actually up to teach, or to lead your small group, I should say, in your box. And then in the box that you will have in your room, we would like to have that a month in advance for you. And with that, there are a couple aspects of this book that I really want to draw out for you. And the first is this summary page. And this will be included with each of your packets, but probably after the first 1 or 2, you'll have a grasp of this. But just in case you don't, these are the different sections that are included in each of the lessons. And so I just want to walk through this, and then want to walk through a sample lesson for you that will take place on week 3, just so you kind of understand the thrust of each week and how to deal with and manage this, because for many of you, this will be new. So the reading portion, this is where to find the story. You do not need to read this. Sometimes it'll be 1 verse. Sometimes it'll be 3 chapters. So please do not turn there with your kids and spend 25 minutes reading Genesis 1 to 4. This is just for you to understand where this lesson is taken from. section is the thinking section. It's just some notes for you to understand where they're going with this lesson, what's going on, and just kind of a 30,000 foot overview. The looking it up, this is a spot that they will have a verse for you to have one of your Sparkies ready to go. So you can say, hey, in a minute we're going to have somebody read Ephesians 2 verse 4. And so Johnny, if you wouldn't mind, you can turn there and I'll call on you when we're ready for that. The getting it ready. These are, again, just things that you will need to have ready to go for that week. And this is primarily for me and for my wife as we get things ready to go each week. Just supplies that you'll have. That'll be in your box. Again, we want that to be as much of an open and go process as possible. So if it says you need paper and pens and markers and a bouncy ball, then we will make sure that we have that ready to go in your box on that given week. Again, I would ask that you return that to the resource room each week so that we can get that resourced and reset for the following week. The showing portion. This is an object lesson, and these are really, really good. For most of them, there are a few that we will retool just because I don't think it really fits with our context or our kids may not get it. We'll make sure we communicate with you in advance if that is the case and we decide to alter this in any way. And again, we'll make sure that you have the supplies that you need and are ready to go for that night. The telling, this is the actual lesson. Some of these are written in kind of a play format where you'll need volunteers. You can choose to do that if that works for your small group, especially as you get to know them and who thrives on that and who doesn't. Or this can just be told in a story format. The challenging is more of a life application of what they've learned. So in a sense, the question of, so what? What do I do with this? And so it takes that lesson, applies it to them. These are great questions, great ways to engage students. The family follow-up is something that we will provide in the to-go box as well, and you can just paperclip that to their books. They can bring it home. It's an activity to engage families for those that are willing and ready to move in that direction. So again, this is just an easy kind of homework assignment if they're going to do that. Some teaching ideas. This is just a great way. Well, actually, the last two, teaching ideas and Sparks activity. These are just supplemental things. If you've got time to get to that will help you, or if you need to burn 5 or 7 minutes, this is an easy way to do that. A lot of these are coloring or activity pages, which for some of your kids, that will work really, really well. And for some of your kids that are much more tactile and want to build something or burn something or destroy something, these may be very, very frustrating for them. And so again, as you get to know the culture of your own small group and shepherding them, leading them, these will work really, really well or not. One of the things that the TNT group, small group book has that this one does not, that I would encourage you to move toward, is prayer. Again, while they're coloring, while they're building something, while they're distracted with something else, this is a great way for you to just engage them, to model for them what a life of prayer looks like. And so you can jot down on your book or on a piece of paper, the date and a list of names and say, hey, Johnny, what can I pray for you about? And he may say, my mom's really sick, or my dad, I think, is going to lose his job, or my dog is missing, or anything like that. And so 2 or 3 or 4 weeks later, you can come back to that and say, Johnny, I know you said your mom is sick. How's she doing? And you may say, man, she's doing well, or it begins to model for them what a life of prayer looks like, how God responds to prayer, and those kinds of things. So I would encourage you. It's a great, great way for you to shepherd kids in your group. So again, that's not part of that, but I would encourage you to do that. So I want to look at one of the lessons, and again, just walk through this step by step so you see what does this look like realistically. This is a lesson called God Still Loves Us. And it's a lesson on creation and fall and Adam and Eve and being marred by sin. And this will take place on week 3 of content. So again, you see the title is here, the reading portion. Where is this kind of lesson taken from? And so you can see 1 Corinthians 15. So thinking, again, that 30,000 foot flyover, just notes for you to process. The looking it up so you can have somebody ready. It says, ask a Sparky to look up this verse and be ready to read it to the group. 1 John 4, verse 19. And then showing. So this is a great illustration. This is one of the best, probably not the best in the book, but one of the best lessons or object lessons in the book for you to walk through with the kids, just on paper airplanes. And so you'll need a volunteer that is okay with theirs getting wet, and what things are designed for and how things are actually used, and how we so often live our lives in opposition to how God calls us to live, what he calls us to do, those kinds of things. So again, there's a lot of content here to get through, but the object lesson is a great one. And so again, kind of telling continues here, just a recap of that Bible story. Again, Matt will be teaching that in the large group setting. And so this is a great way to recap that and move from the large group setting into the small group, and what they're hearing and what you're processing and shepherding them with as well. So the challenging, again, life application. So now that we've heard this, we've seen it in the Bible, we've kind of had an object lesson, we've recapped the large group. What does this mean? How do I move from just thinking about this and hearing this to impacting my life and the decisions I make and the behaviors I have in my life? Family follow-up, again, we'll take care of making sure that's there for you, and that you can just paperclip that to their books and send that home with them. Again, there's some teaching ideas. So as you are sitting in large group, again, I would encourage you to listen to some of the things that Matt's saying, and build upon those in your small group. But also during that time, it's a great time for you to have this and maybe look ahead at what's something we can push toward during our small group. So there's a couple of different ideas, game ideas, theme ideas, teaching options, and just for you to just to create your own culture with your small group. And then again, this is the activity of building a paper airplane and kind of going from there. Again, some of these activities, like I said earlier, may not work the best. And so we will make sure that we let you know if that's the case. We'll make sure that we supply you with what you need, and those kinds of things ahead of time. One last note on the kids' books that they're working through. So they'll still be working through this. Much of this will be taking place at home on their own. You may find that there are things in here that interface really well with the lesson, and so don't hesitate to build upon that. So one at a time, if they have memory work that they're prepared for, and again, I want to emphasize that, as I did with our fast track leaders, we really want to push kids toward fast track that are ready to go, that have these things memorized, and move away from spoon feeding our kids these things just so that they can get awards and those kinds of things that really aren't ready for that. And so if your kids are ready to go with memory work during your small group time, I would dismiss them one at a time. They will go down to room 111, where fast track leaders will listen to any memory work that they have. They'll sign off in the book as well as their achievement card, and they can come back, and when one comes in, you can dismiss the other one. That way there's not a bottleneck, and the kids are maximizing their time in small group with you. So again, I want to serve you however I can, and know that in some ways this may seem like a daunting task, especially if you've gone from just listening to verses in the past to now shepherding a group of kids and facilitating a lesson and leading an activity. So I would just encourage you to lean in. Let God use you and stretch you in some amazing ways this year for the sake of the gospel, for the sake of our kids. And again, we don't know the fruit that will be born of this a decade from now or 25 years from now. They say in student ministry, you don't see the fruit of your work for a decade. And so I can attest to that. with kids and students that I've ministered to years ago, now married, and so it's an amazing thing that we don't know the result of. And so I want to encourage you as you serve week in and week out to labor with that in mind. And again, never hesitate to look for me if I can serve you in any way or something's not working. Let me know. I want to make sure that you have everything you need for the work before you. So thank you for serving. It's going to be a great year. Know that I'm praying for you and for your kids and for this year. It's going to be a great year. So keep going. Talk to you soon.